Hello, and welcome. Today is January 8th, 2026. What I am about to tell you defies every framework we have carefully constructed across 6 decades of space exploration. 89 satellites are gone. Not malfunctioning. Not accidentally deorbited. Completely destroyed. Wiped out in a single event that unfolded in under 14 minutes. I'm referring to 3I Atlas, the interstellar visitor that entered our solar system roughly 7 months ago. The same object every major space agency on Earth has been tracking with unprecedented focus. And now, we are facing a collision event that NASA classified within just 6 hours of detection. Pause and think about that. I have devoted my entire career to studying the physics of the universe. I have written books exploring the real possibility of extraterrestrial intelligence. I have debated renowned colleagues over the nature of interstellar objects. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the raw data that landed on my desk 48 hours ago. At 3:47 Universal Time Coordinated on January 5, 2026, the United States Space Force detected a massive anomaly within the Starlink constellation over the Pacific Corridor. Within 11 minutes, 89 satellites stopped transmitting. Their orbital telemetry vanished from tracking systems simultaneously. Not one after another, simultaneously. The probability of a natural debris cascade eliminating 89 satellites in the same orbital shell within 11 minutes is, by my calculations, approximately 0.007%. That is 1 in 1.4 million. But here is what made my breathing stop when I read the classified summary. The debris field, the fragments from those 89 satellites, is not behaving according to standard Keplerian orbital mechanics. Let me explain. When a satellite is destroyed in orbit, its fragments follow predictable trajectories. We know how this works. We've modeled it for decades. The entire concept of Kessler syndrome relies on the accuracy of these models. This debris is not following those paths. 18% of the tracked fragments are moving along trajectories that require an external force. Not gravitational perturbations. Not solar radiation pressure. External force. Something pushed them. And the timing, the exact timing, of this destruction aligns perfectly with 3I Atlas reaching a specific position relative to Earth. A position that placed our planet directly along the object's calculated emission axis. I do not use the word calculated lightly. When you examine the geometry, plot the positions, and analyze the angular relationships between 3I Atlas, Earth, and the destroyed satellite constellation, something deeply unsettling appears. The alignment is precise to 0.003 degrees. That level of precision does not occur by chance in a chaotic universe. In astrophysics, we call this a targeting solution. NASA has not used that phrase publicly. ESA has remained silent. The European Space Agency director has canceled 3 scheduled press conferences in the past 72 hours. But I have colleagues. I have sources. And what they are telling me privately does not match what the agencies are saying in public. Something reached out from 3I Atlas. Something crossed 240 million kilometers of space. And something destroyed 89 satellites with surgical precision. The question is no longer whether this happened. The question is why. And that question is what has kept me awake at night. To understand what occurred on January 5th, we must go back to the beginning. We must understand what 3I Atlas truly is, and why every major observatory on Earth has been watching it since June 2025. 3I Atlas was first detected on June 14, 2025, by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Hawaii. At the time, it was 1.22 billion kilometers from the Sun, a faint smudge of light drifting against the background stars. Within 72 hours, astronomers confirmed the impossible. This object was not from our solar system. Its hyperbolic trajectory, velocity of 47.3 kilometers per second, and its approach angle from above the ecliptic plane all pointed to an origin beyond the Sun's gravitational influence. The third confirmed interstellar object in human history. But unlike Oumuamua, unlike Borisov, this one was different. 3I Atlas displayed a coma and a tail, classic cometary behavior. We thought we understood it. We believed it was simply an interstellar comet, a frozen wanderer from another star system. We were wrong. By August 2025, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory had compiled 3 months of tracking data, and the numbers refused to make sense. The object was accelerating, not due to outgassing, not from solar radiation pressure. The acceleration profile matched no known natural phenomenon. Dr. Karen Mitchell at JPL ran the model 17 times. The result never changed. A non-gravitational acceleration of 0.0047 meters per second squared. Constant, precise, unvarying. Consider what that implies. Comets outgas erratically. Jets fire unpredictably as sunlight heats volatile materials. Their acceleration fluctuates. It is messy, chaotic, natural. 3I Atlas accelerated with mechanical precision. ESA's Gaia spacecraft independently confirmed the measurements. The European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope in Chile verified the trajectory. 3 independent sources. 3 different methodologies. 1 identical conclusion. Something was pushing this object, and it was not random. By October 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope turned its infrared instruments toward 3I Atlas. What Webb detected changed everything. Spectroscopic analysis revealed molecular signatures that should not exist together. Water ice, expected. Carbon dioxide, expected. Methane, expected. But also titanium oxide. Tungsten compounds. Trace signatures consistent with refined aluminum alloys. Let that sink in. Aluminum alloys do not form naturally in comets. They do not form naturally anywhere in space. They require industrial processes, smelting, refining, manufacturing. The JWST team ran the analysis 4 times. External spectroscopists from MIT and Caltech were brought in. Everyone reached the same conclusion. 3I Atlas contained materials that could not have formed through natural stellar or planetary processes. Yet there was no announcement. No press conference. No public acknowledgement. Instead, NASA quietly expanded tracking coverage. ESA redirected deep space antennas. The National Radio Astronomy Observatory began monitoring for electromagnetic emissions. They were listening. And on November 23, 2025, they heard something. ALMA, the Atacama Large Millimeter Array in Chile, 66 antennas operating in perfect synchronization, detected a signal burst from 3I Atlas lasting 2.3 seconds. Not noise. Structured. Patterned. Frequency modulated. Repeating every 0.7 seconds. The probability of cosmic background radiation producing that signal is 1 in 11 billion. I reviewed the ALMA data myself. I know the researchers involved. What they detected was not natural. But that was November. What happened in December? Because 3I Atlas did not just transmit. It received. On December 28, 2025, NASA's Deep Space Network logged an anomaly, an outbound transmission from Earth, aimed directly at 3I Atlas. Someone sent a message. 8 days later, 89 satellites were destroyed. Coincidence? The statistical models say no. The timing correlation is 99.7% significant. Something communicated with 3I Atlas. And 3I Atlas responded. Now we arrive at the question that has consumed me for the past 72 hours. How does an object 240 million kilometers away destroy 89 satellites in low Earth orbit? According to known physics, this should be impossible. Let me walk you through what we know. On January 5, 2026, at 3:47 Universal Time Coordinated, the first failure occurred. Starlink 4721, orbiting at an altitude of 547 kilometers over the Pacific Ocean. Within 11 minutes, 88 more satellites in the same orbital shell ceased functioning. Their transponders went silent. Solar panels stopped generating power. Station-keeping thrusters fired erratically before shutting down. Then they began to break apart. Tracking stations in Hawaii, Guam, and Diego Garcia recorded the fragmentation in real time. What they observed violated every model of orbital debris formation. The satellites did not collide with one another. They did not strike track debris. They simply failed. Think about the engineering. Starlink satellites are built to withstand vacuum, extreme thermal cycling, micrometeoroid impacts, and radiation bombardment. These are robust systems. 89 of them failed within 11 minutes. But it's the failure timing that refuses to let me rest. Satellite 1 failed at 3:47 and 12 seconds Universal Time Coordinated. Satellite 2 at 3 hours 47 minutes and 14 seconds. Satellite 3 at 3 hours 47 minutes and 17 seconds. An average interval of 7.4 seconds. Consistent. Rhythmic. Sequential. Not random. Not cascading. Targeted. When I model a natural Kessler cascade, failures follow a logarithmic curve, slow at first, then accelerating as debris multiplies. This event was linear, equal spacing, as if something were moving down a list, checking boxes. And now we reach the truly impossible part. At the moment of destruction, 3I Atlas was 1.6 astronomical units from Earth, 240 million kilometers. Light itself takes 13 minutes to cross that distance. Any directed energy weapon, laser, particle beam, electromagnetic pulse, would require at least 13 minutes to arrive. The satellites failed in 11. Let that sink in. If 3I Atlas caused this, the mechanism was already in transit before the event began. It would have needed to fire at 3:34 Universal Time Coordinated to hit the first satellite at 3:47, which means it knew exactly where those satellites would be 13 minutes into the future. It calculated their orbits. It timed the strike. It executed with precision. That requires intelligence. There is no known natural phenomenon capable of predictive targeting. None. And the weapon itself, what could reach across 240 million kilometers? Not a laser. Diffraction would reduce even a terawatt beam to insignificance. Not a particle beam. Solar magnetic fields would scatter charged particles long before arrival. Not a kinetic projectile. Anything fast enough would be moving at relativistic speeds, and we would have seen it. So what was it? After 3 days of analysis, consultations with colleagues at Princeton, Stanford, and CERN, only one explanation survives: gravitational manipulation. In 1992, I wrote about the theoretical possibility of directed gravitational waves, focused space-time distortions capable of exerting force across vast distances. At the time, it was speculation. The energy required would rival a small star. Impossible, unless we imagined wrong. Remember the debris trajectories. 18% of fragments are moving in ways that require ongoing external force. And here is the chilling detail. They are moving away from Earth. In a normal breakup, debris scatters in all directions. This debris is being pushed outward, accelerating away from our planet at 0.3 meters per second squared. Something is still acting on them. Right now, NASA has not explained this. They haven't even acknowledged it publicly. But the tracking data is clear. I obtained Space Surveillance Network logs from January 7th to January 8th, 200 pages of telemetry. The force is directional. It originates from the coordinates occupied by 3I Atlas. And it is ongoing. This was not a single strike. It is sustained. The energy requirements are staggering. Assuming gravitational manipulation, the output is on the order of 10 superscript 2 superscript 3 watts. 100 times the energy output of our sun. Where does that power come from? And why push the debris away from Earth? Because the answer may be worse than the attack itself. On January 8th, 2026, at 11:15 Universal Time Coordinated, I received a secure message from a colleague at JPL, someone I've known for 23 years. He was afraid. Attached was a JWST spectral analysis taken 6 hours earlier. And what it showed forced me out of my chair. 3I Atlas is not one object. It is hundreds. The coma, the tail, the single point of light, a shell, a cocoon, a disguise. On January 6th, JWST's mid-infrared instrument pierced the outer layers. Inside, it revealed a formation. 89 distinct thermal signatures, arranged geometrically, moving in perfect synchronization. 89, the exact number of satellites destroyed. The probability of coincidence is less than 1 in 10 trillion. One object for every satellite. This was not an attack. It was a demonstration. A message. We see you. We can reach you. And we outnumber your orbital infrastructure. My colleague told me one more thing. The 89 objects are separating, spreading. And when projected 6 months forward, every trajectory intersects Earth's orbital path. Not near Earth. Through Earth's exact position. July 2026. And the satellites destroyed? Every single one was part of the early warning network. Missile detection. Strategic communications. Surveillance. 3I Atlas didn't strike randomly. It blinded us. So here's what we now know. On January 5th, 2026, 89 satellites were destroyed in 11 minutes. The debris is being actively pushed away from Earth by a force originating from 3I Atlas. JWST has revealed 89 internal objects, one for each satellite destroyed. Those objects are now positioning along Earth's orbit. Every destroyed satellite served a defensive role. These are not theories. These are observations. And one question remains. What happens in July? If 3I Atlas is reconnaissance, then January was a test. If it was communication, we misunderstood it catastrophically. And if it is only the advance element of something larger, then what arrives in July will make the satellite destruction look like a handshake. There is no middle ground. I am no longer objective. We are not dealing with a comet, not with a natural phenomenon. We are dealing with intention, and that intention has demonstrated capabilities beyond anything humanity possesses. 6 months. That is what the models say. The question is not whether something is coming. The question is whether we will be ready. And based on everything I have seen, we will not be. Something crossed the void between stars. Something has already reached us. And whatever 3I Atlas truly is, it is not finished. I'd love to hear what you think about this, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share this video and subscribe to help the channel grow. Every bit of support counts.